Yes, people, and welcome back to Normski TV and the What's Going On podcast. Good to be back. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and share if you are new on the road to 300. It's taken a long time to get there, so I need you guys to push this around, send it around to your friends, neighbors, everybody. Oh, forget that. But listen, I need you to send it around and get this out. So yeah, hit that like button, smash that like button, subscribe and share if you are new. There is an awful lot to talk about here. The Prem season is back with a bang. Lots of controversy, refereeing decisions, transfer saga, you name it. Liverpool in the mud. Man United could be in the mud with Maguire. Don't know. We'll see what happens. See Big D in the back room sweating his head off. So we're going to see what happens with this. Hopefully we'll have a few of the other guys on, but we are going to be discussing all things Arsenal. And yes, Craig, we are on today. I did put in the chat, we did set up the stream. I set up the stream last night. So I will be always on a Wednesday and not on a Thursday. The person that's on a Thursday is Chile because he supports Man City on a Thursday, and on a Tuesday he supports Tottenham. So, so let's just get that straight. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Mr. Big D. How are we doing, sir?
Boy, not bad, mate. You're not bad.
Yeah, all good?
Yeah.
I know he's having a bit of trouble logging on, and that the camera didn't want to switch on and everything.
Yeah, I think.
So how's your weekend been, and how's life in general? How is Man United giving you sleepless nights?
Well, they should be, shouldn't they, after that performance? But now,
we'll come into that.
I'm all right, no. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, just struggling, but good.
Yeah, cool.
Man, yeah.
And wifey's doing okay.
Yeah, she's doing okay, man.
Good. Just send them big loves.
Yeah.
To her, you know what I mean, and on the road to recovery, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, man.
Giving thanks still, you know what I mean. So D, we have got a lot to talk about. Hopefully, we will have the rest of the guys on. Hopefully tonight. There's been a lot of chatter in our what's going on WhatsApp chat, backwards and forward. I think you woke up to about over 100 conversations.
Easily, yeah. I was like,
voice notes and everything, you know what I mean? So I know you need your sleep because, you know what I mean, you're doing the midnight shift, so I get that.
Yeah,
but there's so much to talk about. Chelsea going on mad in this transfer window. Nearly spending, I think after they get the Lavia deal over the line and the Elise deal over the line, you're talking near on 900 million spent in 3 transfer windows. Wow. And people will ask the question, FFP. But listen, there's been a couple of stuff coming out in the media from TalkSport. What's the guy that nobody likes? The ex Crystal Palace. Simon Jordan. Is Simon Jordan?
Jordan, that's it. Yeah, Simon Jordan.
You know, and to be honest, he did give quite a good account of it. And I think Jace did post something in our chat. And I've been doing a little small bit of reading up on it. I don't know too much about it, but maybe if Ez comes on tonight, I'm sure he will be able to defend his club and their massive spending that they're doing. And it is absolutely massive. You know what I mean? As I said, if so far 800 million plus, you know what I mean? That's crazy money. Crazy money. But listen, it is what it is. And then you've got the Saudi Pro League doing their stuff, spending, especially on wages. I know you brought this point up last week with regards to the wages that these guys are spending. Big up to you, Calvin. How you doing, bro?
Yes, Calvin. Big up yourself, man.
Your team done okay this weekend. You still need a striker, I believe. Are you missing Harry Kane? He's now gone to the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, as you can see. Bayern get their man. And listen, he had a massive chance, Cal. We had a massive chance to win a Super Cup in his first outing. Come on as a sub, 2-0 down against RB Leipzig, only to lose the game 3-0. So he's brought the curse of Spurs to Bayern Munich.
No, but the thing is, that's always the way.
Say, man, big up, Junior, big up.
Yes, Junior. The thing is,
can I just first of all, D, before you say anything, let's just bring in the richest podcaster on the planet.
Man, like,
know-
what are you saying, bro?
When I come in here rubbing hands, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Big up everyone. Big
Yes,
up,
bro.
Hey, yo, bro, this man, you know, oh, bro, yeah, big up to you, Craig. Yeah, Craig.
Yes,
Listen,
Craig.
we are. Let me just bring in Mr. Kofi Klopp. I know he's got a bone to pick with
wow.
the money man.
Kofi's
So
here.
Kofi's
Man, like
here.
Kofi's
He's
in the
here.
house.
And man needs to talk. Big up to you. The chat is gonna go a little bit mad. Big up to you, Craig. I am still posting on a Wednesday. When I did set up the stream, it was last night for today. So if I'm not too sure whether it sort of messed up or whatever, but it will always be on a Wednesday unless anything else changed. But big up to you, mate. What's Calvin saying here? Levy didn't want to sell to the Prem League. Big up to Junior's Mr. Ez from Ez. Yeah, everybody's Kofi. Big up Calvin and Kofi and Ez Junior. Big up yourselves. Big up yourselves.
Everyone.
Before you make your point, let me just ask the money man and the pauper how they doing. So let me first of all start off with the money man, Mr. Ez.
I think you should start with Kofi, man.
Okay, let's start with Kofi then. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So Kofi, we're not gonna go. We're just gonna go in to just find out how you're feeling. I've just realised you've just come back from the psychiatrist.
How
did that go?
I need a double session, you know. I'm going back for some more after.
Hold on a second, Kofi. Did you say you need a double session?
Yeah, I need.
Or is it a double blow?
Listen.
Either way. Just, you know what? I prepared for the guns blazing tonight, and let's have it. Let's be having you, as Dealer Smith says. But other than that, apart from your side letting you down, how have you been, Kofi? That's the main thing. Yeah. Thank God I've been well, and a lot of things going on at the moment, but we just got to give thanks, and I'm here. First game of the season, a lot to talk about, and boy, it's hot. It's hot in here. It's
getting hot in here. I won't sing the rest of it. Forgive me, Lord. That's not in the church hymnal. But anyway, let's move on to Mr. Money. What they call him? Floyd Mayweather answerer in the house, bro. Talk to us.
Hey, there's a money movement going on.
I feel it, bro.
You know what I mean? There's a money movement going on.
Right, I should say sanctions to be.
Hey! Listen, the reason I'm giving it a lot this week, is because I will never forget, as you lot know in the group chat, I will never forget when they said that they froze our accounts.
Yeah, you brought that receipt out. I remember that. That went to his receipts book.
What? These man couldn't get the plane to Dortmund to play in the Champions League. You know what I mean? Talk about there's no fuel to put in the team bus. You can't use the credit card to put fuel in the coach. You know what I mean?
Imagine.
Buying everything. Buying them up.
Thomas Tuchel was talking about renting a minivan with his own money to bring the team up to Manchester. You know what I mean? And drive them up the M. Listen.
How the tables have turned.
How the tables have indeed turned. And I'm sorry, Kofi, that you had to be the victim of our last antics here, because the truth is, we should have left you to deal with Lavia. But when you lot come and bid for Caicedo, we was like, nah, fine, we'll take both of them. No worries, mate. We'll take both of them.
But listen, hear what. I'm hearing that this is personal from stuff that's gone on in America.
Yes,
because they both own baseball teams, apparently.
Yes.
And apparently this is the beef. So this is the beef that spilled over to English football. And I said, these guys are petty to a fault. This is terrible.
It makes sense now. Now it's all coming out now.
So
the way Burnley was organizing some tactical nonsense, I was like, this ain't a player thing. This is just
things across the pond they've brought to the UK and made it personal.
You need to understand, and guys, everyone, that Todd Bowley had trusted his team to get the business done. He's in America dealing with the commercial stuff with the kits and the commercial side. And then he heard that Liverpool come in. The man got on the jet. He said, hold the phone. What do you mean you're going to let Liverpool bid? I'm getting on the plane in the morning. Caicedo, sit where you are and don't move until we say it's time. You know what I mean? Yeah. In fact, we're just going to put a little bit more money towards your family and all them things. He got 10 siblings, 10 siblings. Wow. Caicedo, you know what I mean? So I'm sure
there was something that, I don't know whether it was Talk Sport. It might have been Talk Sport, but late in the night. And they were saying that the moment Caicedo has said yes to Liverpool should have put the man in Addison Lee and got him straight up to Liverpool and locked him in the hotel until he signed that thing. He said, don't let him stay in London to be influenced.
No, he stayed in London.
Yeah, he stayed in London.
Big up to JP. I think he's maybe in a rich country somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, he's still on holiday, man.
Loving it. Still on holiday, doing your thing.
Big up yourself, JP.
And I know, Jay. I know you've got issues when it comes to FFP and the way that Saudis are going on, the way Chelsea are going on, and the way Man City are going on. And I know, and I get it, and I understand now. You understood about this amortization. I've had a little think about it. Yeah. And after reading up on it myself, and I think Kofi, you might need to do a little bit of reading up on it as well. I know right now your blood is boiling, but you got to understand what Chelsea are doing. They are not actually breaking any rules. They're actually playing within the rules. But we just before you go there, we will come into that. But before we sort of go into and delve into the show, I just wanted to say what we're going to be talking about. As you can hear a lot of banging in the background. That's just a disgruntled Liverpool supporter. I said I'm a Liverpool supporter in the house, yeah?
Big her up.
This is Jay. I thought she was going to come on camera there for a second, but it's all right. It's all good. I'm sure she will come in the chat at some point.
Don't give him any food this evening.
But before we go into before you make your points and everything, and there is a question which we will come back to, Junior, about why is Caicedo 150 big bags, and is he really worth that? Just the same, I was to say, is Declan Rice worth 105? Is Enzo worth 106? I mean, this market is really overpriced at the moment. But as Jay said, JP said, in some shows, a couple of shows back, in terms of wages that people get, it's the going rate. 400 G's now is the going rate. And I know D, you had a big issue with it, but that is the going rate.
I still do after Monday Night Football.
Well, so yeah, right. So we'll come on to that. So let's just let the audience know what we're going to be speaking about tonight. Yeah. And that's obviously we're going to be looking at how our team done over the weekend, the Prem review and your player ratings. I'm not going to necessarily ask you for individual player ratings. It's more about just a general view of your team and some of the players or how you thought they performed. Ref Watch. We have to deal with Ref Watch.
Absolutely.
The PGMOL at it again.
Never a penalty, Norm. Never a penalty.
Are you? Listen,
he's winding us up. He's winding us up.
No.
Listen, we will come on to that. We will come on to that.
Anyway,
and this one is definitely at. This one is definitely at as over $750 million spent in free transfer windows. Surely Chelsea challenges for the Prem. What now for Klopp at the pool? Why the 2 snubs from the Chelsea-bound targets? And obviously we come to the what's going on prediction game week 2 that we're going to predict the games. Game week 2, we predict game week 1. Myself and Big D, and I believe Kofi came up with 1 point. Unfortunately, Ez and Chile did not. But I say, and Ez still will be doing his forfeit. Don't worry about that. Yeah? Even if it's a double forfeit at the end of the season, he will do it.
We're not losing again.
Anyway, and also new to the show, Big D, as you know, we've set up the What's Going On Fantasy League shout, and we're gonna call it the What's Going On Fantasy League shout out. So D is just gonna give us a brief review of how some of the people done over the weekend, and you know, Jay, she's in it. She refused at one time to buy Haaland for Man City. All of a sudden now, I'm going to ask her, how much she now got in her kitty? 4.5 million. You know why? Because she bought Haaland.
Oh, Jay already used that first sub.
So we will come into that at the end of the show. But let's crack into the show. So first of all, let's talk about our teams and how they did over the weekend. So I think first of all, let me start off with my team, Arsenal. First game of the season at home to Nottingham Forest, where we came out 2-1 winners. 2 goals, one from Saka and the other one from Eddie Nketiah. Our number 14, £100,000 a week striker, the one to step up in place of Gabriel Jesus. What I would say, the first 20 minutes of that game, guys, I don't know if you watched the game, I felt that Arsenal just a little bit, in terms of, first of all, I didn't really understand the Arteta setup. I was trying to work out who was playing where. He had Thomas Partey playing at right back. He had Ben White and William Saliba as the 2 central defenders. And at one point, it was almost like, I know what he was doing. He was playing Partey as an inverted right back to come in when we were in attack and when we were in defence, come back. Partey is not really a right back. And a lot of the times, especially on that left-hand side, he was getting cooked a bit. And I was getting a little bit worried, especially when, Nottingham Forest in the second half kind of came back into the game, got that goal on the break from a corner. And that was like looking back at old Arsenal back in the day when Man United used to do this to us an awful lot. Straight from a corner, bang, they're down the other end in the goal. And literally that's how it was. And your ex-player, is it Elanga?
Elanga.
Woo!
I was about to come on to that.
The pace on that guy was unreal, mate. And a lot of the fans in the stadiums, they said when they actually saw it, they couldn't believe how fast this guy was moving. And
he got jets on him.
Yeah, he's good.
But
it's
for
just
me,
his final product.
It
was
the I can't remember the striker. The striker for Nottingham Forest. He came off the bench. I think he's ex. Is he ex? What was he? He came from. Did he come from the Man United academy? I'm sure something like that. Yeah. But anyway, listen. Ben White, I didn't believe defending that goal, because what happened when the ball was played, Ben White was watching the ball instead of his man, and literally his man snuck in front of him and gets the goal near side post, and the goal is in. And so it was almost like we was hanging on, even though we had 80% of or say 60-70% of the possession of the ball. Our passes, we made something like 600, 700 plus passes. I think it was more than that, to their 100 and plus passes. So Arteta was setting up in relation to how they played, because they weren't going to have much of the ball. They were going to play in a low block, and he decided that he was going to change it up completely. He had Havertz playing. I couldn't work out. I couldn't work out what was going on. Now Arteta came up in his post match and said, "Look, he has to make every game that he plays. He has to make teams think." Now I don't know what you guys think. Do you think you should just not overcomplicate it, or just go with what he went with last season, which he had his normal set, which was the back of Chichenko, Saliba, Gabriel, who was left on the bench, and it was tactical reasons. It wasn't because he was injured; he was left on the bench, and then Ben White at right back, overlapping Saka. So going with a 4-3-3. Sorry about this. So for me, the way he set up, a lot of people were kind of, what's going on here, man? Why on earth are you, tinkering with it? But he's basically saying that he's got to keep teams that he plays thinking and on their toes, because Arsenal towards the end of the season became too predictable. And so it is. But listen, at the end of the day, we should have won that game by more goals. And the goal by Saka.
Oh,
what a goal, bro. Listen, man, what a goal. And not only the goal by Saka, the assist by Martinelli for Nketiah's goal. The 360. Whoa. And Richard Keys, typical Richard Keys, he didn't mean it. I'm thinking, shut these big, just go sit down and behave yourself about he didn't mean it.
Nketiah's getting you goals this season, Norms.
Listen, look, the thing
man
is,
like Eddie,
for Nketiah, now what I'm trying to say, for Nketiah to consistently score, he has to play consistently. Now, the problem is when he took over from Jesus when he got injured. Okay, when he came in, he got us a couple of goals. I think for that season, I think he only scored 4 or 5 Premier League goals. For me, that's still not enough. Not for a top team like Arsenal. You need, as I keep saying, Arsenal need a 25 plus goal a season, man. I feel if we had a 25 plus goal a season, man, I think we go on last season and win that league. And that's my
but the thing is, in games where he did play and he started, he was very effective. And because he pushed on the last defenders, he was there all the time.
Overall game compared to Jesus. Jesus gives you more. You know what I mean? With Nketiah, he might play on the last man, but his game compared to Jesus, Jesus got more all-round game. Do you know what I mean? His first touch is not that brilliant. Don't think his first touch, and his hold-up play is not that brilliant.
So wouldn't you rather keep Balogun?
Look, I would listen. I think we should keep Balogun.
I don't understand why you're selling.
But he hasn't been sold, though, has he? He hasn't been sold
because at the moment, Monaco are looking at him. They put in, I think, maybe their second bid, but Arsenal are holding up for 40 million plus. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. So we'll see what happens.
The thing is, I said this a lot on the stream that we don't know what goes on in training. You know what I mean? Because for us, we're saying surely you keep Balogun with what's going on, and then in the background you're hearing that they're pushing to sell him or put him on loan or whatever. So you have to wonder what Arteta sees in training about that particular player that he wants him out the door.
Well, Eddie Nketiah came out, and this is what Arteta said. Basically, he just said, "Boss, you know what I mean? Obviously, because he left him out the last game, he started our Havertz in the Community Shield, and I think he basically went there and said, and this is what Arteta said. I'm just kind of trying to remember what he said, paraphrasing, but he basically said is that, boss, I'm good enough to start, start because you know what I mean. I'm going to get mad if I don't start, kind of thing,
right?
Thinking, something to that effect. And he said, and Arteta come out and said, well, I like a guy that's got fight. I saw that in the training, so therefore he started the game. Right? It is what it is. Havertz didn't help very much in that game. Again, I personally think, I don't know. Listen, people are saying give him a chance. It's early days, whatever. But for what I saw in that game, man,
there's a reason why his nickname is Shy. Shy Havertz. You know what I'm saying? Because he shies away from the ball, bruh. Once he got to put himself about a bit better if he comes on and you're at Arsenal. You're at a big team now. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Chelsea wasn't a big team, but it's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah, I tell you, you see with Elanga right now. See what's no, but you see with Elanga, I actually think if Elanga had come on 10 to 15 minutes earlier, that would have ended 2-2 because he was cooking you lot down there. He would have been getting their balls in.
But we didn't. Arteta, the problem with Arteta, and this is my problem with him,
reaction.
He doesn't make changes when he's meant to make changes. Do you know what I mean? And then the Timber deal, the Timber situation with now he's out for the whole season now with an ACL. What happens now? Do we go back in the market for another defender? When we're oversubscribing defenders when you think about it. I want Holding out. I don't want Holding in the club. I want him out, but we've still got Tommy Ashley. Obviously, Shevchenko's just coming back from injury. You've got Kivier who can play there. We probably more need a right back because he bought him to be a right back, not a left back. So if you think about it, when he bought Timber, he bought him as a right back and he said he could play as a centre back, and he's actually a footed centre back, but he's playing him there.
That's why I thought he was. I thought you bought him as a centre back personally because of what went on with Holding last season.
There was that, but you can see what's happened now. You can see what's happened. He's starting him off in that left position because he can comfortably replay there. Do you know what I mean? But I think for me, sometimes this whole thing with square pegs in round holes and whatnot, I think Arteta just needs to keep it basic. Tierney now,
he comes out of Pep's school, the norm.
I know, but he's trying. But he's not Pep. I keep saying he's not Pep.
I know.
He's not Pep, so he needs to think for himself. And Tierney, who a couple of seasons under him was doing really well, but it's because Tierney can't play that system. He's been frozen out, so he's like behind Kivior and he's behind Tomiyasu.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
I just don't get it. And sometimes I don't know, because obviously you still kick the ball, I think, or you do some kind of coaching and that. What are your thoughts on? Do you think Arsenal should, one, the fact that we've lost Timber and he was bought primarily, we was told to play as a right back or to give challenge Ben White and maybe be cover as well, because Arteta wants versatile players. So I think Holding would be the one to be frozen out and sold or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that he's injured, you go and buy another defender, or for me, put your money and go and get an attacking, another attacking midfielder to one push Saka, or get an out-and-out striker, because I don't see the point.
I agree. I don't think you buy another defender. I think about it. You've got Tomiyasu, you've got Gabriel, you've got Saliba, you've got Kiwor, you've got Zinchenko. You know, that's going to be a crowded house if you get someone else, especially of course if they're ripping up tree trunks as well. Then that's a downer for Timber. You know, don't forget it's going to be dark days ahead. You know, for him when he's doing his rehab the next 4 or 5 months, and then he sees someone else come in. That's going to be detrimental. I think you have to trust Tomiyasu. You bought Tomiyasu in last season or so. Trust him. You know, he's got to hold the fort. But
the problem is though is Tomiyasu and Shevchenko are injury prone. Yeah. Now, you know, you get this guy coming now, Timber, who's not really had a major injury at Ajax. He comes here, and you know, some people are saying that.
But we need to have a conversation, you know, gents, because there's something in the air, you know, with these injuries, and I'm not sure if it's how they're going about how much football they're trying to cram in, you know, or it's these pre-seasons where they've got man doing tours in LA, and you know, one day they're
I was thinking about this yesterday.
The Euros. You think because the Euros coming up, like
Euros World Cup, you know, and think about it as well. You've got Kevin De Bruyne that can't stay away from injury.
Well, now he's out till some people say now till 2024.
Well, this is it. Timber's out for 6 months at minimum. Minimum. You've got Chelsea that's got Fofana, who's been on the injury bench more than he's played since he signed. He's out till January. And Nkunku's out till January. You know, so you start looking at it and you're thinking, hold on a minute. And you talk to D over there, and Martial can't stay off the injury bench. You know
apparently he played last night. Apparently he played in a 2-0 win behind closed doors against Everton.
Oh, there you go. How long is it going to last? How long is it going to last?
2 games.
and then you've got Reece James playing a blinder against Liverpool, and Potter's going, that's enough, Reece James. I ain't risking anymore. Come off. You know, I don't know if you saw that, Kofi, but Reece James was fine, but Potter's gone. Not even risking it. Come off. You know,
that's the way to manage. Sorry, just kind of.
No, that is good.
A lot of people are having a go at Arteta because the doctors basically said when they asked him, he said they looked at him and they said he's okay to go, and apparently it was the other knee. Do you know what I mean? So
Arteta's prone for this. You know, I will never forget when Arteta was told to take off Partey. It must have been last season or the season. I can't remember. And Partey was feeling his hamstring, and Arteta said, "No, you stay on, go."
Yeah. That was a Tottenham game. The Tottenham game.
And he's tried to run back, and now maybe something that maybe could have been solved in a week or two. He was out for weeks upon weeks,
months. He's been months. You know what I mean?
And someone like Saka. So when you're talking about bringing a player in, I think you've got to protect Saka. He can't play the amount of football he was forced to play last season. I know he's young, and I know, but he's just been told to go and go and go and go and go. Yeah. And there's no one that you trust enough to say, Saka, come hold the bench. That's why City caught you know, because City was resting them, man. Mahrez and them man could have.
That's what I'm trying to say, and that's what I liked about what City was doing. He was ruthless. Pep was ruthless. Yeah. He told Mahrez whole bench. Yeah. Yep. He said De Bruyne whole bench. Yeah. The Pope, man. These guys will get in any one of our teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, they can play 2 squads and still look good.
Klopp. I mean, Kofi, I hear that. I absolutely hear that. What I'm trying to say, Pep knows how to manage his squad, and your Arteta has run Saka into the ground towards the end of the season with 8, 9, probably 10 games to go. Saka just looked completely out.
You've got to give it to Pep as well, because he doesn't always go for players that are ripping up tree trunks. But when they get to City, that's when you recognize him. For example, I didn't really know much about Bernardo Silva before. Come to City, oh my gosh, he's world class. Kevin De Bruyne wasn't really doing much before. Come to City, oh my goodness. Diaz, Laporte, what's his name? Cancelo. Rodri was doing normal stuff in Spain.
This is what I was going to say.
Looked amazing.
But Ed, you make a brilliant point there. All the players that Pep brings into that side, they're good players, but he's made De Bruyne into a world class.
That's the difference.
He didn't make it under Mourinho at Chelsea.
No,
right? Man said, "Yo, go back." So he ended up going and playing at Wolfsburg. Yeah. And he played decent for Wolfsburg, right? And then whatever. The same thing with well, obviously Mahrez is kind of a different thing because Mahrez was kind of.
But even then,
he wasn't world class. So yeah. He was miles above a lot of the players in that team. But he brought him in there and he went to the next level. So basically, what I'm saying is that any player that comes to Man City, they go to the next level.
Well, okay. Here's a prime example: Sterling at City, Sterling at Chelsea. Two different.
And you have to look at that.
Sterling at City, but
Sterling forced that move as well. He forced the move to Chelsea, and then these guys go and do the treble without him. I mean, talk about a slap in the face. It's like, what we... And apparently he's come out to allegedly saying he has some regrets there.
No, of course he does.
He should have humbled himself.
Certainly at the moment.
But that's the thing. It's like, okay, you've got a hard taskmaster in Pep. Now, do you humble yourself and win things, or do you say, you know what, I need regular football, I'm out of there? And that's what he did.
But the thing was, Sterling was made to look like he was a bit too big for his boots, because remember the season before, he had a good summer in the Euros, and everything was banging for him. And Pep just said, look, you just slow your road. I know what I'm doing.
The thing is, you can't have you got a team of alpha males, and then you got a super alpha male boss, right? So there has to be a level of I got to take you down a peg, because I remember Sterling at City. I can't remember what game it was. I think he scored a brace, right, and he subbed him off, put his arms around him, and started schooling him on what he did wrong. The commentators were like, what is wrong with Pep? Pep needs to chill out. And they were going after Pep.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Look, Sterling is a top player. I'm under no illusion over what happened last season after Graham Stephen Potter. Yeah, because
Stephen,
that's his middle name.
I know. That's what I'm laughing about, because you actually found out the man's middle name. You know what I mean?
No, I had to Google him. Because I had to look at.
He was that distressed man said, I need to look at this guy in detail.
Man said Stephen,
I spent one whole evening on Google just making sure that it was the same Potter. That is that.
Man.
Anyway, Sterling. I looked it up yesterday. Sterling's got over 300 goal contributions in England. Prem champs, everything. A majority of those came from Man City. You can't tell me there's not a player in there. He's only 28. There's a player in there. But you can also see what Pep does, where a system is created in which he's got a plan for each and every person, compared to you put that same player in Havoc and you don't recognize him. And so that's why I've got to take my hat off to Pep. So going back to Arteta now, he needs now players that he can trust equally, and he can say, Saka, I know this is a big match, but hold the bench, mate, because I need to save you. You know what I mean? Same for Martinelli, same for Partey, Rice, who is your big players, and you can say, hold the bench. And you can also say, anyone that doesn't want to be here, there's the door. Because Cancelo, even Gundogan was their captain and best player last season.
Absolutely.
But he didn't want to stay. Pep goes, no problem, mate. Bring someone else in. And I've still got my core.
Sorry, just cut here. Sorry, Cole. The problem is, right, with Arteta is last season he looked at that bench and he saw a couple of people on there. He thought, I don't trust you guys. Do you know what I mean? And that is a problem. So if you're gonna, and that's why I keep saying, in order for us to challenge the likes of Man City, you've got to go and buy. Okay, people, and I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad Arsenal are doing it now. Raya now is coming. And people are raising their eyebrows and say, what, 2 number ones? I know it will cause problems because somebody will go. If we keep Raya, Ramsdale will go. Because Raya is coming in to get that number 1 shirt. And he's actually a better distributor of the ball.
Yeah, Raya's not coming there to sit the whole bench, no.
No, it's
not
not.
coming
It's
to
not.
Arsenal the whole bench.
I like what Pep Arteta's doing, but he needs to do that with the other players in the team as well,
right?
And not shoehorn. And this is what he did on Saturday. He shoehorned players in because he's thinking, well, I spent 65 million on Havertz, who didn't do nothing in that game, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, no, he's trying to shoehorn people in there, changing up the system. No, go with your best players and the players that you've got that are proper backups. As Ed said, if Saka is tired, hold bench Saka. Yeah. But the man will keep playing this guy until the man has nothing left in his legs.
But going back to your point, he needs another Saka that would probably give that extra percentage that he would find in second half of games. Because, like, for example, when Saka, and you do notice when Saka does get tired, and he needs, at that point in time where he needs to make those substitutions, he needs to have a second Saka.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Arteta, these substitutions. Typical 70 minutes. He's reactive. He's not proactive. You saw Nottingham Forest going and making a wholesale changes, and when they made that, they brought in a couple of their big men, the striker, and the Elanga guy. Look what difference he made. And the thing is, it was only till later he brought on Gabriel, because he's thinking, hang on a minute, we need to now tighten up at the back. So Arteta needs to, his in-game management needs to still improve as far as I'm concerned. That still needs to improve big time. But other than that, I'm glad we got the 3 points because at the end of the day, for me, the result is what matters. But going forward, hopefully Arteta will revert back to what he knows. I'm hoping that he will maybe still get 1 or 2 more players in before this window's closed. And one is somebody to challenge Saka. And for me, go and get a top-class striker, which I know he won't do. So I know because of the Timber injury, I think they're going and looking at, we're linked with Caicedo again. Not the best of defenders, but he can probably play in that system that Arteta wants. So we'll see what happens there. Let me just touch on Man City. First game, Friday night kickoff, where Ireland just left off where... I switched on the TV 4 minutes in, Haaland.
He needs to be tested. I will start an inquiry myself. He needs to be tested.
And the thing is, if you look at it as well, he wasn't in the game that much. He didn't need to be. He's that clinical that he didn't need to be in the game that much and still walk away with a brace. He could have scored a hat-trick and he should have scored a hat-trick. And it's like, this dude, just an alien. He's an alien. That's what he is. You know what I mean?
It's not
I'm actually glad that I'll put him in my fantasy football team as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you have to. It's like, and even though you dislike, this is what I said to Jay, to Norman's Jay, even though you dislike City, you have to, we were on the phone trying to help him with pick a team in North, when I was driving up north, and I said, you got to go Haaland. You got to go Haaland. I said, you have to go Haaland because just for points, forget about your allegiance to whatever team, you know what I mean? And I always tell the people, if you can squeeze Haaland and Salah into your team, you have to do it. And then you look at your Sakas and your Rashfords after that. But because them two are going to get goals, and that's just football. It really is. Yeah. Norm, you can hear us?
Yeah. No, go on. I'll just still, yeah.
But no, you know what? Another one to watch, Isak from Newcastle.
Oh,
listen, that guy is gonna.
If he stays fit, Coach. If he stays fit, he's a problem.
He ain't gonna be allowed to go anywhere else in England, though. He ain't gonna be allowed.
Listen,
he'll have to be Real Madrid or something. That guy's a player.
Yeah. Listen,
and I think injuries last season kind of just stopped his growth, but obviously he's had a good pre-season, and he just looked dangerous, man. And I just thought, and like I said, Newcastle just surprised us. I never expected that. I mean, because Villa have been tidy, but then obviously with the bad injury to the centre
to Mings,
kind of changed everything.
I think you probably be trying to push Maguire in his direction now. now that Mings is out, you know what I mean? Because it was a bad injury.
And I think he's out for the season, normally. He might be out for the season. It's a long one, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy when I turned on the TV and I'm like, Newcastle 3-1 up. I'm like, but when that what's his name from Bayer Leverkusen, what's his name? The winger. He scored the
DRB.
equaliser. DRB, right? Because we was linked with him. We was linked with him. I was thinking, man, boy, you're thinking 1-1. Yeah, Newcastle's rocking. Let's see what happens. But next thing, listen, they literally, listen, it was a bad day. I'm going to say it was a bad day at the office for Aston Villa. I'm not going to look at the game and think, because they've got a good squad. Yeah, and I think it'll take a bit of time because that Diaby guy, he is quick. Do you know what I mean? But what I like about Newcastle, you know what I mean? They look balanced. Got good defense. Ramirez and Linton in the middle. Yeah. You can bring off Wilson. Wilson came off the bench.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Wilson came off the bench. See, and for me, we haven't got. If we had a Wilson coming off the bench for Jesus or taking Jesus, we would do much better than Nketiah.
So maybe you guys test the water because if he's not starting, he's got to be disgruntled. I know he can be injury prone, but if he's not starting, he'll feel that he should be starting. You know what I mean?
But Isak, I mean, when he came to Newcastle, obviously injuries sort of took its toll on him. But listen, he looks good. And again, we was linked with him a season and a half ago. Do you know what I mean? And people were looking at it thinking, nah, you know what I mean? I think he come from, I think it was Real Sociedad. I think that's the club that he come from. Mate, I'd have him in the squad. Do you know what I mean? He's quick, he's skillful, technical, holds the ball up well, and scores goals. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so Newcastle started off on a fantastic 5-1 win. As I said, going back to Burnley. Look, I like the football that this is an unrecognisable Burnley under Sean Dyche. Under company, they are playing. Yeah. That goalkeeper though does take a lot of chances. That's what I say. Goalkeeper does take a lot of chances.
The actual scoreline was quite harsh on Burnley because I actually thought Burnley played very well. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing that they got no one clinical because the guy that we had, the tall brother, he went back to Burnley, but he clearly.
Yeah, but he's now on loan. He's now
again on loan. Gone on again. Yeah, don't fancy Vincent. Don't fancy. But I think a lot of teams will go up there to struggle. I think Turf Moor will be a hard place to go and turn them over. They're not going to get turned over. I'll be shocked if they get turned over.
I mean, a couple of the pundits they're asking who was likely to go down there. I think they had Sheffield United, Luton, and Burnley. I think Burnley.
Yeah, I put it hard on Burnley.
Yeah, I think they might stay. Yeah. But I know a team that you would like to see go down, and that's AFC Bournemouth. Right? And I know why, because they've done O'Neill, who was actually managing, only had like 4 sessions with Wolverhampton. We'll come on to your game. But AFC Bournemouth won, West Ham United won. That game ended up as a 1-1 draw. And I think Jared Bowen scored in the 51st minute. I didn't watch the game. But Dominic Solanke scoring in the 82nd minute. Yeah, to make it.
Moyes has to go. Moyes has to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you think? Look, they've got 100 and something million pounds burning in their pocket. I know they're linked with a number of players at the moment.
And they're about to get another 80 odd for Paqueta.
Yep. Man City are looking at him. I'm just wondering, with the money that they get, are they going to be able to buy the quality players?
Only for the right manager. A lot of players don't want to go West Ham and play dinosaur football.
Exactly. It's a dinosaur. And sometimes you just go out on top. He won the Europa Conference League to get them into the Europa League. Just walk away, bro.
Yeah.
It's not. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
He could probably have gone and done a job at one of the lower leagues.
Yeah, and the thing is, what he does, he ruins great attacking players with the football he plays. He really does. They go in there and then they say, "What is this? I want you to do just this," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you can see it. You can see that he's ruined. This is why the guy we just mentioned is going to City. He don't want to play under him. He's trying to get out of there. So
this is the thing. My father-in-law called me and he said that when Bournemouth scored the equaliser, Moyes brought on another defender to go 5 at the back.
Exactly.
Against Bournemouth.
So he never even looked at chasing and winning the game. That's David Moyes for you.
That's horrible. That is
shocking.
Horrible. Yeah. And he's going to be in Europe. He's got a hard lesson coming, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Europa. Yeah, Europa. He needs to get. He has to get into quality, especially a forward. And if he's losing Pakatia, do you know what I mean? Because Pakatia has played in European competition at a higher level. So do you know what I mean?
I think they missed the chance there. I think they could have got Vieira in.
Vieira, as in Vieira.
Yes. And I think
I'll drive him down. I'll drive him down to myself.
Serious. Because I mean, Vieira's in France now. He's got a job playing for.
Sorry. Do you know what? I thought.
Oh no, sorry. Oh, I was talking about your legend Vieira, not your player Vieira.
Okay.
Right.
No, I won't drive him down there.
The manager.
He actually had a great week. At the weekend, he had a good win against Lyon. Strasbourg beat them 2-1.
Oh, he's on.
Yeah. So, but Vieira. Maybe should go on loan to. Maybe should go to on loan to on West Ham.
Well, I don't know. He'll do a job there.
Yeah. So you go back. So you're saying is
by the way, sorry, just in case you didn't know, talking about Vieira. Vieira manages Chelsea's second team.
That's what I said. Strasbourg.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, that's
right.
They won. Okay.
We've got alliance now. All of a sudden, we've got alliance now, Norms. Yeah,
alliance with Patrick.
2-1. And to be honest, they played quite well in that game. They played quite well. Yeah.
The plan is all these young bucks that we're buying are going straight to Strasbourg.
I know exactly.
So fair enough.
You got one or two. There's
3 players out there at the moment, and I think that's the maximum we can loan at the moment.
Right. To one club.
To one club,
that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, let's move on quickly. Brighton, newly promoted Luton. Brighton dispatching them 4-1. Listen, Luton. Look, they're still having their ground developed because obviously it's not Premier League standard. So it looks like a lot of their home games are going to be played away. I don't know where it's going to be played. I'm not even too sure where that's going to be. But listen,
probably Watford. Norman, probably Watford's ground, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Probably the closest.
Maybe.
You're
probably right.
Yeah, because I think Watford is still a Premier League ground in the sense of the way it was developed. Yeah.
Well, listen. Well, for 36 minutes they kept them out until Kuro Mitoma gets an assist. Solomon March. I know some of you guys like him. On the 30 minutes gets the first goal. Then João Pedro gets a penalty. So I think he makes it 2-0.
I got one going, man.
There was a goal from Carlton Morris who got the penalty to make it 2-1. Then Simon Adingra and Evan Ferguson, who Chelsea. I heard that there might be a possibility that Evan Ferguson for Brighton. I'm not saying that's the case, but you're probably looking at him. West Ham are looking at him.
The tension's still hot with Brighton after the Caicedo stuff.
Bro, just offer them Lukaku is and some money. Just say, right, here's Lukaku, here's another 30 M's and give us Evan.
This is how Brighton work.
Lukaku.
Brighton don't have any money about when it's your player, they ain't got no money to spend. Yeah,
sorry, that's
too expensive. Yeah. But when it's their player, the price is higher. That will make your eyes bleed. You know what I mean? They've made over 200 and something million from Chelsea, Brighton. Yeah,
wow.
From Cucurella, obviously Caicedo, and we had to buy out the staff, Potter and his team, didn't we? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So any more business there?
Well, if you look here, guys, this is Brighton selected outgoing since 2021.
Wow.
Right, and a lot of that is Chelsea there. Yeah, 140 million. Yeah, 50 million to Ben White to Arsenal, 13 million Dan Burn. Tottenham, Yves Bissouma, 35 million. Mark Cucurella, who Brighton bought for peanuts, 63 million. Neil Maupay. 50 million.
Neil was there, wasn't he?
What about Trossard?
Trossard to you lot.
27 million. McAllister, 55 million. That obviously there was the 35 million buyout clause, Cove, and then the 55 million. That's what we're up to with add-ons and stuff like that. Roberto Sanchez, he's gone to you guys, isn't he?
Yeah, he's our number one.
Number one. Because
he started him, didn't he? I
think that's actually decent business. You know, these lot quoted 70 million last year for
him.
70 million they wanted for Sanchez.
Wow.
It's only because he fell out with De Zerbi. Now all of a sudden they've gone back to what his real price probably is.
Yeah, 25 was that's a good shout.
That's the only one that looks. Trossard actually is a good deal as well. That's a good deal.
Yeah,
put this way, there's not. Put this way, guys. There's no chance Brighton are going to get done for FFP.
No.
These guys are bought in some piece.
You're talking nearly 400 million there.
But what I noticed, I've done some research into Mr. Tony Bloom. Yeah. You know that guy's a major gambler, isn't it? He's a major. He's one of the, and not just a major. He owns horses. There you
go then. Yeah.
So he's used to holding his nerve, you know. And the thing is with him, the price is the price. That is it. If you don't want to buy, no problem. You know what I mean? So that's how hard he is, and that's why Caicedo and Wooden man there dealing with Brighton's hard unless you've got a buyout clause.
Yeah. And that is the thing is somebody was talking about this with that it's best that young players that are coming in now should have a buyout clause. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're going to find out a lot more because I think now players are just going to run their contracts down. And funny enough, Arsene Wenger said this a few years ago that you know he predicted that players are going to start running their contract down. And then
some players are getting smart. So Kudus, I don't know if you guys have heard of Kudus. I think we was
from Ajax. Yes. Well, you're linked with him. We're linked with him. West Ham are looking at him.
Brighton had their bid accepted, but then when it got to contract talks, Kudus said, "I see how you're going on with Caicedo. I want a buyout clause because if I want to move, I don't want you to hold me back. I don't mind what price it is, but as long as there's a price." Yeah. And Brighton said, "Nah, we ain't putting no buyout clause because they want to be able to negotiate and get a bidding war, like what happened with Caicedo."
Yeah. But
so
then
that's
now,
why that didn't go forward.
The way the Saudi league is going on, I don't think players are going to mind just running their contracts down. Yeah, so
exactly.
I mean, listen, you've only got to look at what my man is on at the moment, from PSG, Neymar.
Right? Silly. It's
2.4 million a week.
Was it you, Ez, that was it you that?
I posted it earlier.
I actually read it to Sheena earlier. I said, Sheena, I'm going to read you something. And she said, she just clapped and said, fair play to the lad. You know what I mean? I said, she goes, that's insane, isn't it? I said,
it's a 2-year deal, and each year it works out to be something like 120 something million.
Yeah. But if you put that aside, though, the extras, things that happen on his day off and all that, Sheena said that works for me, dear. I said, I know that's one of it. Like the private jet is there when you need it.
The money he makes, he doesn't even need to spend because
exactly is.
Do you know what I mean? And it's tax free, you know, tax free.
Right. Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do? I mean, he's got to be helping his family in Brazil and wherever else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. But I said to Sheen after a week there, I'm going in the office and said, "Listen, man, have you sorted out that extension for me? I take a 2-year extension. You know what I'm saying? Where are you going after that? If you're living like that." You're not going anywhere after that. Just sign the extension already. So.
Listen, I showed Chanel that, and she looked at me to say, "Get your boots on."
That's it. Let's go, man. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure I'm sure there must be a B league out there. Yeah.
Listen.
Can you imagine? Listen. Can you imagine? Man phone job said, "Man phone job and said, listen, we're from the Saudi Pro B league.
No, don't do that.
We was thinking. We saw you on a podcast show and you talked about your football skills. We were wondering. I know you got to speak to the agent Norman Johnson, yeah.
Listen,
but we could give you. We're thinking about paying you. But I know it's a Saudi Pro League B. But listen, we're thinking about giving you 100,000 a week. How does that sound? I'll say, bro, Ed, take the money.
Listen,
Norm,
I'm hearing already.
They've already started it off, haven't they? They've already started it up now. And they're looking for coaches and all sorts. I said to my guy Phil, "You fancy going out there? We can fly the wives out every month if they want. If they don't fancy it."
Look what Jason's put in the chat here.
Yeah.
Here you go.
The guy gets 500k per post when he posts about Saudi on social media.
Exactly.
So
it's mad, mate. It's wild, isn't it?
I thought about giving David Worry a call and getting him to. He's out there already. You know what I mean? He might as well just line it up. You know, or he's close.
He could be the next agent.
No, seriously.
As a matter of fact, I think if David is watching the show, he's actually over in England at the moment. So,
you know what I mean?
Cole, you should text him and tell him to come on the show, bro. Tell him we need some contacts. You know what I'm saying? We need some contacts, but it's crazy.
But the thing is, can you see the Premier League like being a downgrade over the next 5 years? Because
No.
I think it's going to take longer than that. Yeah, it's going to take longer than that.
It won't be a downgrade.
Yeah, it's going to take. I think somebody said it 2 shows ago that what will probably happen is that, I think I sort of posed the question that could the Premier League or the other European leagues get into bed with the Saudi Pro League? Just like golf, live, and all of that. That it could be going down that way. Do you know what I mean? Because the amount of money, and as Dee said alluded to last week, in terms of it's still the Premier League that's spending the most money on transfers.
Yeah.
But the wages, the Saudi Pro League,
killing it.
They're killing it, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll just post Love Saudi every day.
Exactly. Yeah, just like they said it.
Yeah, as JP says, the Prem will do deals with the Saudis. Absolutely. They will.
They will. They will.
They will do deals.
And it wouldn't surprise you if they tried to even find an angle where they included them into European competition.
Somewhere, or
somewhere a little bit like, whoa,
some sort of cup competition where they have X amount of teams, as Jay said about maybe, we'll have so many teams playing there, that team from there and that. And then you create what you call this little mini Super League.
Norm, if you look
Super
about
League comes in.
If you look about what's his name? Todd Bowley, what Todd Bowley said about the All-Star game and all these kind of things. Trust me, these things have already been spoken about. Even if they initially left him out the room. Listen,
I'm telling you that listen, the Premier League officials, the Liga, all of them are sitting around the table right now.
Somebody wants a piece of that Saudi action in Europe. These big guys at UEFA and FIFA and whatever, they're all at the table talking. How can we do this and not look greedy? Trust me. And make it look like they're doing it for the good of the sport and being inclusive when really it's about lining their pockets with side deals. Trust me.
Yeah. I can't believe how some of these football clubs can turn around and say that they ain't got no money, they're paupers and all that. It's ridiculous, mate. Absolutely ridiculous. Too much money is flowing in football for the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga not to get involved with the Saudi. I'm telling you, it's happening right now, right below our noses, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Have already been around the table.
But let's move on quickly. Everton start off with their season losing 1-0 at home to Fulham. The goal scorer for that game was Bobby De Reed. That's the he's actually Jamaican international. 73rd minute. Couple of good saves in that game from Bert Leno. But again, situation with Everton.
He had a good game. Bert Leno, he had a good game.
Yeah. Situation with highlights. Everton losing 1-0 at home. Listen, last season they were fighting for their lives, and now we're in this situation where they're losing at home. I don't know what the season's going to be like. I know they've just got in somebody on loan, I think, or bought somebody. I can't remember from what team it is. But I know they've either got somebody on loan, but I'm not too sure where it is. I haven't really been following their transfer thing because they don't really do too much in the transfer window when it comes to the transfer window. So I don't really follow them too much. Then Sheffield United losing at home to Crystal Palace. A goal from Odison Edouard in the 49th minute. It was quite funny in that game. One of the Sheffield United players pushed Roy Hodgson. My man started to tussle.
Yeah, but you see Roy, right? You see Roy didn't back down, you know. He got something in him, you know. Turkey, they got a little something in him, man. I'm like,
man, just grab up his arm and say, don't do that to me.
Try that again, Try that again if you're bad.
Don't do that to your elder, man. Do not do that to your elder.
You got a little bit too excited, mate.
Yeah, that was funny, man. I was like, Roy, take it easy, my brother. Take it easy, Roy.
He pull up his trousers after as well, as to say,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like, try me. Did it? Try me.
You know that. Listen, we move on to the which I thought this might be a trickier game on Sunday. And this is Brentford 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Kofi Chili's not here to defend. He's probably still in the cotton fields doing what he's doing, or he may be in the chat watching. But maybe as soon as we mention his TV, he'll probably pop up and say something or come on the show. But he normally does. But anyway, Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. And to be honest, the fossil football, that expression always talks about, We didn't see that under Ange.
No.
It was the football was nice flowing. Listen, Son now is the captain with Maddison as the vice captain, and I thought Maddison, they needed someone like a Maddison in that team who, as in terms of creativity, 2 assists in that game, one from a free kick and then an assist.
I spoke about him in summer, you know, Norm.
Say again?
I spoke about Maddison because, like, if you look at, like, I'm taking Maddison over Van der Beek, over McTominay.
I would have taken Maddison over Kai.
Yeah, and so I look at that and say there was no mention at Old Trafford about going for this guy that just got relegated. Same as Harvey Barnes as well. I think I would take Maddison over Harvey. You know what I mean? But I'm like, no one spoke about this guy, and this guy just settled in very quickly to Tottenham. And I had a very good first game, you know what I mean? Had a very good first game. Yeah.
A question from Cal: do you think Stevie G messes up Mings' career? Because you know when Stevie was managing, he kind of benched him and kind of sort of put he kind of sort of
the arm off him as well.
Yeah, sort of left him out in the cold. There's some backwards and forwards going on with them. I don't know. I mean, look, since what's his name, Unai has come in. You know, he's pretty much featured in the games, and I think he's done well quite under them. You know what I mean? So I think he's done okay. To be honest, I don't think he's affected him. You know, listen. Mings is still at Aston Villa, and my man is coaching or managing in the Saudi Pro League. So I know where I'd rather play.
But you know what it is, Norm? It's about working with your captain, and apparently Mings is a very popular guy in that dressing room. And there was a feeling that they were sooner to listen to Mings than they were to Stevie G. So Stevie G thought, well, I've got to take this man down a peg or two, take the armband off him, bench him and let him know that whatever he let him know. But it didn't work, did it? Because he got himself fired in the end, do you know what I mean? And now you see him doing dodgy adverts over there where he can't pronounce a single thing right. It's like, come on, bro. What are you doing? and this is one of your legends as well, Kofi. I would slap him.
Big up Scott, brother. How you doing, man? In the future, how you doing, brother?
Yes, good.
Yeah, I see you're doing quite well in the what's going on fantasy league. My missus has been keeping abreast. My missus has been keeping abreast of that. But I'm sure D will do a shout out at the end of the show. And big up to you, mate. I would take Robbie Savage over Mason Mount. What? Yeah. Oh, yes, I would. Yes, Mason Mount. It would take Robbie Savage over Mason Mount. D, you agree with that?
Exactly. And the thing is, you see with I called him Everest already. I would have got his nickname. You see with Everest, it's actually not his fault. And if I look at him and Bruno, this was my concern about Bruno getting the captain's armband and bringing in Mount. I think they're too similar.
Yeah.
And so one's your captain, the other one you made your first signing of the season when we needed a striker. So straight away you profile both of them players. So whatever happens, Ten Hag feels the need that he's got to shoot them both in. Now, if you look at what he did, Norm, we played a 4-1-4-1. What in the world? We've never played that. I don't think we've been saw that in pre-season. And he's gone with Casemiro sitting and 2 10s, playing them two as 2 10s. And I'm like, nah, brother, you got the horribly wrong, Norm. You got that, and we did get away with one because if you look in that game when he pulled off Garnacho and he pulled off who did he get rid of? It might have been Mount as well. He pulled off them two. He brought in Sancho and Eriksen, and they changed the game for us because the balance weren't there. Casemiro was getting cooked. You like
as a lone six.
Yeah,
you played two. Did you play 2 8s?
2 10s and a lone 6. What are you doing?
2 10s. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, Arsenal. What we did is we played. Well, because the system was kind of crazy. We played 2 8s. Havertz and Odegaard more out wide, as opposed to more central, and then Partey would come in. It's just like you have to understand the system and know when you need to, because obviously when you're in attack, you got to make sure that you're in that position in terms of Partey dropping into that 6th role, and then what's the name pushing on, Rice pushing on. When Partey is not in the 6th role and we're defending, he drops back into right back, and then Rice drops back into the number 6.
Right.
So for Rice, he's learning all of this, and the thing is, you have to have a football brain on you to do it. I get what Arteta's trying to do, but sometimes just keep it simple, please. Just keep it simple. JP saying, seen reports that Borussia Dortmund are glad Jude Bellingham joined Real Madrid after growing tired of his behaviour. Question here from Craig: who has the worst signing, Arsenal for Havertz or Man United for Mount?
Yeah, it's too soon, Craig. It's too soon. After the one game, I think both fans are looking at those signings and scratching their heads. You know, and I talked to my brother the other night, and he said to me, like, since Mount is here and he ain't going anywhere, you got to give him 10 games before we put him on the cross. Yeah, but in 10 games' time, if I'm still seeing what I saw on Monday night, then my Lord, we're stuck with him, Norm. He's not going anywhere unless he gets injured. And I don't wish injury on any player.
End up out wide, you know. He's going to end up out wide, I promise you.
Yeah, but then
it will come good after.
Yo, listen, this one's saying, like, we played a flat back four with Casemiro in the 6. We had Garnacho on the left, Anthony on the right, Rashford
both of them had a terrible
right,
game.
and then them two in a joint 10 role. So this is what I'm thinking, because Martinez got the early yellow card, he could have pushed into midfield to help out Casemiro properly, and we played the back 3. That was supposed to happen because these two don't like. I mean, Bruno can trap back, but he don't like to trap back.
No, it's not his thing.
He wants to be that man assisting Rashford. Rashford through the middle, I think, is horrible. That's me personally, because if you got Jaden that can play the false 9, why you force it? Because Rashford actually, in an interview, he told Ian Wright or whoever was interviewing him that he don't really like. He said that he just switches off playing through the middle, and you saw Rashford keep coming deep. To get the ball, to get involved in the game, because he was just getting frustrated. He was getting no service. So you look at that and you say, this is where I get annoyed with Ten Hag's stubbornness, right? He knew it wasn't working, and he still brought the same team out at half time when you got 5 subs to use. Make a sub at half time and change it up, because Wolves were cooking us, Norm. Like it's like we were a donut in midfield, and that's not bashing Casemiro, because Casemiro had a decent game, bearing in mind what he was asked to do, as in try and marshal 3 midfielders that just kept coming for the ball, kept pressing him all the time.
Wolves literally, they could have had 3-4 goals if they had somebody with shooting boots on, mate. They could have a 3 or 4, and we will come on to the reason why Man United ended up winning that game and Wolves not coming away with at least a point. But we'll actually come on to that. There was a question from Craig. He says, what are your thoughts on Greenwood?
Greenwood has to go. And I don't know why we've taken all summer to figure that out, because this is my thing, right? He got found not guilty by the courts. We saw what we saw, right? You're gonna go all summer and not either commit to him so he can be integrated back in the squad and get fit, or say, Mace, it's not looking good with the optics. You're gonna have to go on loan. There's too much negativity coming back if we include you. Like, you can't fire him. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. So you either loan him out or you send him abroad now. And maybe because the young lady now is pregnant, she doesn't want to go abroad, which is fine, but he hasn't made her a wife, to my understanding. So if football is what he's still about after this ordeal, I think the fan base is split on it. And for me, I think you pull Mason back in, and the first question is on every press conference, when is Mason going to start? What's the situation? Yeah, Ten Hag don't need that, especially when we look disjointed as we did on Monday. And so that's what I would say. You either loan him or you make a decision. Because if everyone else has made a decision one way, why is it taking Man United so long to do something with this kid? Because I think you're being unfair to him, and you're being unfair to the rest of his teammates. Because apparently a lot of the teammates are now back following him on the social medias, which makes me think that there's a percentage of the Man United guys that wanted to stay. Plus, we need a striker. As you can see, we bought a 6-note striker with a bit of a dodgy back, which don't even make any sense to me. If you saw that injury in the medical, as I'm led to believe, in the MRI scan, Why wasn't that an alarm bell for you?
Mm.
It's like, oh, we've gone so far, we got to sign him now. Yeah, well, he's young, he's still growing. That's more about growing pains. But if it becomes more than growing pains, where this kid can't play more than one game a week, we're back in the Champions League. He needs to be able to play more than one game a week. And so, and I think there's been one eye on the Mason. I think what they're trying to do, Norm, is test the waters a little bit and see what the temperature is of the media and all that. Because at the end of the day, he did abuse that young lady, Harriet or whatever her name is.
Well, I think maybe because of the fact that they've had a child together, and do you know what I mean? Maybe.
They mentioned that strategically, you know, that he's.
I know, yeah, because they're looking for the sympathy, for the action. But if that's your wife, your sister, your daughter, you're like, man, you did that to my daughter, bro. I'm blocking you up, money or no money, I'm blocking you up, and I'm probably gonna go to prison blocking you up. That's how I see it. And you remember what her dad. The next day, the dad said, Mason has been around the family from I can remember. He's a good lad. That incident is so much out of character. The dad was defending the man rather than defending his daughter. The day that got leaked, she said that wasn't her that posted it. It got leaked, whatever. But I just think, Craig, the drama that he's going to bring to the squad when we're already under pressure. We're under pressure to keep up with Arsenal and Man City. I don't think we need the Mason pressure. As much as the kid can ball, obviously he ain't kicked the ball in nearly 2 years.
Yeah, so that's going to take,
So he probably won't even be ready till Christmas. But they said they're going to address it at the end of September. Why? Because the window's closed. Stop it. This is United all over. Let the kid live. If you think that the optics are bad to keep him, let him go. That's all I can say. Just let him go. It hurts us, Norm, because like as I was going to say earlier on, where I think it was Calvin or one of them guys said Man United should have got Kane or whatever. They were never going to sell Kane to us. No matter what we put in, I think he would have turned down 120 million for Kane if he came from Man United, because he accepted it from the Germans. He didn't want him anywhere near the Premier League, and he would have taken Kane to have said, I want to go to Man United. I'm going to put a transfer request in. Because once he puts a transfer request in, Norm, it changes everything. And then the whole world know that Kane has put a transfer request in, and his preferred destination is Man United, and Man United are putting 120 mil. So this is before we go and get Haaland. Before we go and done that deal, we've put the money in for Kane. I think it forces them to say, well, you know what, Kane's put the transfer request in. Man United have put the money up. I'm sure the owner would say, "You got something to Man U, mate," because Man United would have been the highest bidder. But you know what I mean. Harry wanted to be nice, Harry, and not upset the Tottenham apple cart. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put a transfer request in. Someone's going to come and buy me. And if it's about money again, I think Man United would have taken care of Kane and still giving Kane a signing-on bonus because he lost it by putting a transfer request in. Because that's how it works. If you put a transfer request in, you lose a signing-on bonus. But I think Man United would have taken care of him the other end. So just do the deal. You know what I mean? So I think the Mason conversation doesn't happen if we'd gone out and bought Kane. They would have just said, Mason's out of there, get him out of there. But because we don't have no options and a sixth striker and an injury-prone Martial, they're holding on to Mason, hoping that the season gets away, and then you sneak him in at Christmas. And suddenly you'll see Mason on the bench, and you're like, Mason's on the bench. That means he's been training with the squad or training wherever he's been training. And I think they're edging their bets to keep him, though. Otherwise, you'd have done that earlier, wouldn't you, Norm? Not being funny.
Yeah.
There were teams that wanted him, apparently. There were other teams that wanted Mason. So people are willing.
Well, listen, let's watch this space and see what happens. Big up to Igulu, if I pronounce that, Mobaraka. If it's the first time to the show, please hit that like button.
Yeah, they got themselves up.
Subscribe. Please hit the like button. I only noticed three likes, and I need to get them lights up. So whoever's watching, please hit them like buttons now and subscribe to the channel. Let's quickly move on to Chelsea-Liverpool.
Good game.
Obviously, very good game, end-to-end stuff, you know. And the first 20 minutes of the game, Liverpool were on top. And what was happening is that Salah was getting a lot of joy down that right-hand side because he was playing like with a back three. And you could see that both teams needed defensive midfielders. Because literally both of you were going through each other like hot knife through butter. Yeah. End-to-end stuff. Kofi, let's start off with you. Your thoughts on the game. I know in your game week 1 you went for a 2-2 draw. I think Chile went. Ez went with a 3-2 win. What your thoughts? Do you think it was evenly matched, or do you think Chelsea should have come away and won that game? Because some people are saying that Chelsea had them, especially in the second half, sort of really improved and looked a lot more better than Liverpool.
Yeah. To be honest, like when you go to Chelsea, you're always going to get a difficult game, and especially when you have a guy like Enzo in midfield. Like second half, well, to be honest, throughout the game, he literally bossed it. And he actually made Gallagher step up, because Gallagher in the first 20 minutes, he was making a mistake. Salah we should have probably gone more to that side where Salah was giving, what's his name? Cornwall, a handful, and there were chances there, but obviously we didn't take our chances as well. Chelsea had good chances, so in terms of chance creation, Chelsea probably slightly did better than us, but I think they were more effective with Reece James and Chilwell doing their thing, and Robertson was looking a little bit bare on that side. Trent still defensively, he's not there. And we need to look for the right back. We need to look for another right back. We need to look for.
But he was playing him inverted, wasn't he? He was inverted.
Yeah, he was. But he still does not feel comfortable like doing the right back thing like that. But yeah, I feel that Chelsea were overall better than us, and Liverpool has to dress that midfield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about this whole thing with the way Chelsea just said, listen, Klopp.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not just Chelsea. Like every club is going to look at us and say, "Oh, well, you had money and you didn't tie down deals."
Well, you're linked with Decore from Crystal Palace.
Wait, let me pause there. I've just seen Fabrizio tweet, Liverpool's talking to Amrabat.
Imagine. So
yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because we're dragging our heels with him.
Come on, that. This Amrabat has been going on since last year, and if we haven't even put in bid last year for him,
Klopp, Kofi, the crazy thing about this, and this is what's going to happen to Liverpool, because when you was messing about with Lavia, 40 mil, 35, 40 mil, and then all of a sudden you're going with a bid for 60 mil for Lavia, and he turns around and says, "Nah, mate, I don't want to stay. I don't want to come to your club. I want to go to Chelsea. Chelsea down there. I want to go down the road, Chelsea. Yeah, I want to earn all the money down to Chelsea."
Only comes in again and says, "Look, you know what? Let's up the tempo on this."
But it's crazy. But what's going to happen now? If you're now linked with this Amrabat, right? They know that you've got 111 million to be precise that you was going to spend on Caicedo. What do you think? Yep. What do you think Florentino are going to say now?
Yeah, but Liverpool ultimately shoot themselves in the foot because we've got rid of Edwards, who was our prime transfer guru, and he was shutting down everything. And now we're looking like cheapskates every single transfer window. So how do we expect to close deals if we're negotiating with Labour's deal, which was just 50 million up front, and get the deal done? You can't keep going that way because the transfer window's moved on, where everybody's paying out the 100 mil for players. So Liverpool looking like we're not a big team.
You're annoying teams the way you're going about things, because you bidded 60 million, but Southampton actually accepted Chelsea's 53 million bid.
Imagine. Yes. But that's because Liverpool decided to show their hands, a bad hands, that they could afford Caicedo.
But there was something that Jason said there about staying in London. A lot of those
It was actually my missus, not Jason.
Yeah, right. Oh no, I just saw whatever flashed on the chat there. Sorry, Jay. Listen, so a lot of them live in South London, whether it be Kent or Surrey. It's not a bad commute down to Brighton. So a lot of them say, "Now I want to stay in South London or stay in London." Like to come up to our clubs where it rains. It rains for fun up in the north. Northeast or northwest. And so if you're down in the south and you can move to a Chelsea, you're like, you know what? Okay, they're not in Champions League this season, but they're going there. They're going Champions League. That's what a lot of people are saying. So you have to remember, when we weren't in Champions League, we signed Pogba and Zlatan, and we weren't in Champions League. So it's not a strange thing for Chelsea to be signing good players, not being in the Champions League or in Europa. So if you put those things together and you say, I want to stay near London.
Now that's more of a factor than the money thing. Because we're not actually paying these players a lot of money. We're not, because Lavia has been reported that he's on less money than James Ward-Prowse.
That's right, yeah.
Wow.
So it's not even a money pool. Plus, that spoils the model, because Chelsea, in selling all these players, we've got rid of 190 million pounds of wages alone. Wages.
Right.
That's just under 200 million in wages. Do you know what I mean? So let alone the fees on top, which is another 250 odd that they say. So they're going in and saying, look, you're going to be on lower wages now, but there's incentives to get you playing. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. This is fantastic.
Wow. So that's from Craig. Craig must know I'm actually putting this up. So as you can see, there is explain way. First of all, how did your team do? How do you think your team went? Secondly, I'm going to pose that question, which is basically over, and Craig has posted it as well. Over over $750 million spent. Surely you challenge for the league. Surely.
Yeah. Starting with the team, I think we played amazing. Enzo looked his price tag, and I think that's what Poch is trying to say. You're wasting Enzo playing as a DM. Go and get me some DMs so you can see more of what Enzo was doing on Sunday. And we played a very different formation. It looked like a 3 at the back, but it was actually really a 4. It's just that Colwell, a centre back, was being asked to play more like a fullback, left back, so that Chilwell could get up. And I don't know if you noticed, Chilwell was getting a lot of joy. Hence why he scored. He was offside.
Listen.
Good goal. But he was offside.
It was minute
inches.
Yeah.
That's
that ball came from Enzo. Yeah. Now the thing is, right, is that game they were saying that Enzo, because the thing is Enzo was playing quite deep. Well, listen, I don't know if he's almost like playing like a box to box. He was kind of up and down. If you had a Caicedo there.
Oh, this is so Gallagher was being asked to do the job for the game until we could get a DM, right? So Gallagher was doing winning the ball and passing it to Enzo. And Enzo had the license then to not worry about his defensive duties. Although he would like to come and collect it, the ball deep, he didn't have to worry about his defensive position. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But Enzo made Gallagher's job easy as well.
Of course.
Because Enzo can do 2 roles. He can do 2 roles.
That's because of Poch's system now. So Poch is, I got to respect Poch. He noticed that there was too much joy for Salah and he fixed it. No problem.
Yeah.
And to the stage where Klopp had to pull Salah off, because now he's been muted. You know what I mean? And that was a game of chess, really. And I like a manager that can do that, because in the last 12 months, everyone here has seen me complain about Graham Stephen Potter and then Fat Frank, which is still super Frank, but he's just not a great manager.
Super Frank, but
he's just got a really bad. Anyway, we're not talking about Frank. I saw Poch pull off a system without a complete team. I know everyone talks about the amount of money spent there. Only maybe a third of that, or maybe half of that maximum, is for the first team. A lot of that has been put into youngsters that you don't even know. If I mention Angelo Gabriel, what's his name? You're not going to know who that is. Ogochukwu, you don't know who that is. Davey.
You're linked with some guy called If not, I think you're right. I think you're actually purchasing me from some Brazilian teams, some guy called Steven.
We've got him. He's done his medical.
Right, but you're going to loan him. There's a possibility that you could loan him
straight out.
17 million. I think you paid 17 million for him. 17 million.
Yeah, and these are not cheap fees, but so a lot of this money that you're looking at here, everyone in the chat and stuff, Chelsea are doing this now so that they don't need to be in the market every summer. They've just gone on fast track. Let's go and get anyone that we can think's available and is got potential, and then we don't need to be in the market. Next summer, we shouldn't need to buy anyone. And these long-term deals, Caicedo signed an 8-year plus 1 9-year contract. He's 21 years old. He's 21 years old, so he's with us till he's 30 if he runs it down. Okay, we don't need to be in the market for a DM.
If he runs it down, it don't matter, does it? It actually doesn't matter because you got your best years out of him. Exactly. Yeah. But
another. Yeah, sure. No, go on.
Someone said something to me. Someone on the Chelsea board was breaking some things down the other day. They said, look, the average price for a decent player is about 50 million. For a decent player,
yeah,
that's the average.
Yeah.
If you end up buying that player and it doesn't quite work out, you then spend another 50 million next summer. That's 100 million. Why don't you just go and spend 100 million on the player that you think is the best available now? Do it now, rather than spending 50 and then have to spend another 50 and hoping that is and I think that's what they've done with Enzo. They've said, you know what? Yeah, he's not worth 100 million, but sometimes you buy cheap, you buy twice. And the same with Caicedo. There just isn't another player right now playing the level that he's playing.
I mean,
it's not because he's worth 100 million. It's because the market doesn't suggest that there's anyone close.
Okay, so the scenario is right. So you've spent nine. I think you get the Elise deal over the line, and the Lavia deal over the line. You could be near on 900 million spent over 3 windows. I mean, just over the 2s. I mean, in this window alone, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
With this kind of spend, if for whatever reason, the scenario, if you don't make top 4, what does that mean for your club? Or is it just a kind of case of, well...
No, that's a sackable offence.
But what does it mean from money-wise, business-wise? Because you spent a lot of money. Yes, I know you've made money through sales. Would it be detrimental? Is it something where, if you don't make the Champions League, do you end up... I'm not saying you're going to end up going to receivership. That's a bit far-fetched. But doesn't that really hit?
I think this year is the year... Last year's kind of scrapping the project, right? That was under Potter. It was the wrong man to run the project. This year is where the project really starts. So a lot of that money spent, we've ended up selling. So we bought Koulibaly, sold him year later. You know what I mean? So that's just a prime example. This is the year that I think you start the project under a manager that's going to be here long term. I expect this year to finish top 4, and I think we should be competing for titles the season after. This is the bedding in year.
Okay.
I think Poch is the man to really get this kicking off. And the season after, I expect us to be winning stuff.
Okay. Kofi, just with regards to the question I put, with obviously the pool losing these 2 main targets now, what now for your club? And okay, you're currently playing in Europa League at the moment. Do you think with the current squad that you've got, and what do you need to get in your squad to challenge for the top 4? Because I think it was Jamie Carragher again having another little rant and stuff like that. And I think Paul Merson was saying that with Lavia and Caicedo, definitely Caicedo coming into Chelsea now, they will finish above Liverpool. Even though Liverpool, in terms of their project, because you're slightly further down the line, if you get what I'm to say, because you're rebuilding as well. But so is Chelsea. But they're rebuilding at a phenomenal rate and at wholesale rate as well. So what do you think?
I think we have to look at whether the likes of Thiago or Caicedo come back and can hold, without getting injured throughout the season. Like, we got to depend on that because, going into the transfer window, in the next window, it's going to be telling for Liverpool whether they can hold their own. We can't hold our own right now because, we've just shot ourselves in the foot in 2 potential buys, which we should have got over the line, or at least one of them. So, but you know, at the end of the day, Liverpool, we find a way to come through. So
I think you need to go back to your old model though. Like I mentioned it in the chat, but for everyone else, there was a time Liverpool weren't in the market for the hottest players. They would go and get a Robertson from Hull City, 4 million, and then the man's ripping up the place. They'll look into the academy, someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold, when there was no right backs in the market. You know what? Do a job. You know, and then you went for the players that maybe weren't quite there. Mane,
yeah.
You know, even Luis Diaz. That's a great buy in my opinion. You know,
but you know what is in saying that, like if you go back to when FSG first took over, it was like they were still following the old model of the Hickses. Right. They were kind of thinking, oh well, you know, the Hickses did this and didn't really go any further with their transfer policies in what they were bringing in for Liverpool. And yeah, why can't we follow the same thing? And we'll still bring in a top manager, but we'll curb like Liverpool's spending and things like that, so that, you know, it at least keeps the business model running the way they want it to run for a good longevity, because they know that Liverpool came from almost going into administration to now coming to a point where they can try to be big again. You know, so,
and it took a bit of time, the rebuild. You know, from the time where you nearly went into administration and then Hicks, do you know what I mean? And then FSG came in, and it was that long process, because it's like, when are Liverpool going to actually win a Premier League title? And I think that started when they said, right, Klopp was available, and you're thinking, right. And I think it was a 4-year process after taking over Liverpool. You came in, I think you got into a couple of semi-finals. I think you got into one final but lost it. I can't remember what it was. So
that same process is going to have to go again, and like I think.
But as it's saying though, do you revisit back that model of going for players?
They have to, because Klopp has got to a point where season after season he's probably because
some people are calling for his head now and saying like, you know what I mean.
I haven't really had all the money that I really wanted to spend. And there's been structural builds on the stadium and everything like that, and they pumped in money that side. But I want a team that I can pick out players and say, okay, you're not doing great, I'll bring someone else in. He can't really do that. He doesn't have those choices because it's just bare bones on the bench.
Yeah.
But you have shown your hand now in bidding that amount for Caicedo. And that tells the world, hang on a minute, where we might respect Liverpool when we're having conversations, because we know they've got a tight budget, and you know, now they're going, nah, you can't pull that card, because he was willing to spend on that.
And Klopp does that all the time, and then he's not even that. He even had a dig at Pochettino, we'll say, or at Chelsea, by saying, you know, he's both like to say, well, Pochettino, he was like a sport break. He goes, Pochettino gets what he wants. You know what I mean? I think Klopp, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Klopp
sounds like a big baby, man. Man up, man.
Liverpool ain't got money, and Liverpool ain't got money.
Up, man.
They're choosing how to spend that money. But the whole world, I mean, most of my Liverpool players, and now we can't spend money like you guys. But then he just showed that the coppers are there. Because remember, Wenger used to lose Norm, and Ferguson. Oh, there's no value in the market. When there's money there, just go do it. Go do the deal. There's no value in the market. And Liverpool have become that there's no value in the market. Then suddenly pull 100 million out their back pocket. Come on, man. It's like, you had the money. Do that deal. And remember we said last week that the price is the price. Stop haggling, and there's no haggling to be had.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And the thing
and
is,
now you got Liverpool now in the mud now, losing out on two.
Well, I used to really respect Liverpool's model, because you would pick out someone that no one's looking at, and boom, you know, you're like, who is this kid? Who's Robertson? You know, who's this Luis Diaz? And then they cut even Jota. Jota was a good guy. You know what I mean? These are players that are levels, and you can then go toe to toe with City, or you were at the time. Even Salah wasn't on the radar like that, you know. And then now look at him. And
he's linked with the Saudi club.
Oh well, listen. If he might be looking at Neymar and going,
all of them, they come into that point where they're saying the popularity shift is going to go to Saudi.
Well, Fabinho and Henderson might even be like, "Yo, come look at life out his." And
I'm sure Henderson is now the captain for Steve Gerrard's club. Yeah, and not only that, I think the way Salah chucked off his bandage on the pitch. When
I'm about to watch that. About to go through that.
What's going on there, Cole? What's going on there, brother?
The thing is, there's going to be more pressure on the likes of Liverpool saying, "Can we keep hold of Salah?" Because Salah's looking at it like Mane's getting 700,000 bags a week, and like I only get 350.
Hold on.
I only get 350.
Also, they're tapping up Liverpool bad, because they want Alisson too.
Yeah, imagine
they're looking at Alisson as well.
No, seriously, they're talking about Alisson now.
Jay's gonna have to start looking at other players because the way Liverpool are losing their players right now, you're not gonna have anybody in the fantasy league.
No, seriously.
This is hard times for Liverpool. We're like, let's go to Street Angels for players,
Yeah, but you see his reaction, Kofi. Is there anything to read into that, or he was just being a bit of a baby there?
I think
because I thought he had a good game, and I think first game of the season, I'm not sure why Klopp pulls him, because if anyone's going to get you a goal, it's Salah.
The thing is, like Salah, he was taken off for who is it?
Elliot, well, you had Thingy coming on, didn't you?
Salah probably thought he could have been effective in that last 10-15 minutes of the game, but I couldn't really see it because nothing was going down his side, and everything was going towards Nunes and Thingy. So Salah sometimes got to take it on the head and say, look, you didn't really have anything going on. You weren't effective.
It's a bad reaction, though, man. It's a bad reaction.
It's the reaction.
Yeah, and it looked quite disrespectful to the governor as well.
But as I said, players are passionate. They want to play, and maybe you thought, well, I could have done something. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Quick question here before we go on to the ref watch and then do the prediction. And that's Pochettino. If he doesn't get top 4 from Craig, does he get sacked?
I think there's factors to it. Okay. If Chelsea are playing very badly, then yes. If Chelsea are putting up performances and you can genuinely see the progress as the season goes on and he misses out, they deal with Arteta and say, trust the process. If a Potter happens where the performances are not even there as a stamp evidence as to what the process is, then he's gone. He might not even make it to the end, let alone top 4. But if the performances are there and you can see a player go from 50 to 70 to 80%, then they go, all right, cool. We go again next season, and you bag that. So these people upstairs are not silly. They're serious businessmen. They'll look at things at statistics as well as what the reality is, and make a decision then. So it's not as simple as if he gets top 4 or not. I don't think so.
Okay. Dean, question here. So why did Man United try to sign Harry Kane? If you had signed him, would you be winning the league?
Wow. Yeah, Craig. To my understanding, that in the first couple of weeks, the feelers were put out to Tottenham, and the response was, under no circumstances was he allowed to sell Kane to a rival. I don't consider Tottenham a rival.
Nah.
Right, but that's what. Sorry, Chile, but I don't. But and that's what was put. So allegedly, the United board decided not to go down this Daniel Levy circus, because if you look at the circus with Bayern Munich, that was a whole circus before he left to go there. Apparently, Kane was even told not to get on a flight and went to his family's home and sat there for 6-7 hours so that he landed there in the dark and all. This own territory. They were still messing with him. Levy was still punking him after getting the money he wanted for him. with a club that wasn't in the Premier League. So what would he have done to United? He would have ruined our transfer window. So there's your answer there. And yes, I think if we get Kane, we have to be there or thereabouts. I'm not saying we're going to win it because City they're well oiled, but I guarantee you with Kane, we're pushing City to maybe the last 4 or 3 games of the season. I think it's a close running, but you know what I mean. We can all wish to have Harry, and I think, like I said earlier, if Harry had put in a transfer request, I think it changes everything. He wouldn't do it though. He wouldn't do it. He actually said, if no one comes in for me with anything solid, I'm happy to stay at Spurs another season. That tells you everything you need to know about Harry or Harry's ambition. I don't think it's ambitious that he's gone to Germany, personally, unless he wins the Champions League with Bayern Munich. So he should have gone to an English club, but then Tottenham would have just dragged out this window, and then what would have happened? Do you remember what went on with Frankie de Jong? Right, Man United could not afford another scenario like that. This transfer window, because we had that last transfer window, and it makes the club and that manager look like clowns when this happens. Because if we'd done that, Chase came for the whole summer, and then Kane ends up just signing an extension at Tottenham because Daniel Levy is not selling to extend it. Everyone's going to mock United more than we get mocked already. So, yeah, it's one of them. It would have been nice. And I think, like I say, in January, there was a lot of Kane talk to Man United because people said he's not signing. And I said from then, Levy is not selling to us. He's just not. Because he's still sore about Berbatov and who else we got? Was it Carrick we got from them as well?
Yeah.
Right, he's still sore about Carrick and Berbatov, who both turned out to be gems for us. So he weren't going to give a third bite of that cherry pie. No chance.
Right, let's just quickly move on to the last thing, and that's the ref watch. And I just want to concentrate on focus on 2 incidents. There was other stuff that happened, but 2 ones. And we talk about the Jackson and Ball. Anthony Taylor was the referee concerned in that game. Some people saying it was a penalty. I mean, his hands were here. It's not like, they weren't in an unnatural position. Do you know what I mean? So, what are your thoughts on that? Some people say it should have been a penalty. Others say no. What are your thoughts on that? And also the big one, and that's the Onana one. I think Craig alluded to earlier on in the chat. How on earth is that penalty?
It's only big because it's Man United, the biggest club in the world. That's why it's big.
But that was a clear.
Listen.
Penalty.
No. The goalkeeper is entitled to come for that 50.
I cannot believe this man is camping.
Right. Hold on. Hold on. Let me land. All game, listen, last season we complained about David De Gea staying rooted to his line and we conceding soft goals. Now we've got a goalkeeper that wants to come for crosses. 2, every time he comes for crosses, he gets battered and he still comes for the crosses. The one that he's off with the timing, everyone said, penalty. Nah, that's not how football works. We're going to see this all season and we're going to have this conversation all season where it happens to your team and you're going to say, nah, D, it wasn't a penalty, man, because he's entitled to come for that.
Let me answer this question.
He's entitled.
Hold on, Rick. If Ramsdale did that, took out 2 of your players, you're telling me
no. If you look at it, the 2 players collide, then he hits them. You see it? Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? We are going to agree to disagree.
He was miles away from that.
And what made it worse is the Pierre Germain came out and apologized again.
Yeah, but Norm, then come onto the platforms and do it. Come onto your, I said it in the chat, come onto your BTs and all that and say you got it wrong. No, they won't do it because they know this season there's going to be more of them. And the thing is, you have to remember, the goalkeepers to a point are overprotected. I will say that. But then when they're getting beaten up on crosses, no one talks about it. When he's getting his shirt pulled, all through the game he's getting his shirt pulled because he's a cute goalkeeper. His timing was off, I admit that. So that 50-50 could have gone either way. If he gave the penalty, I would have had to have taken that on the chin.
I don't disagree with
that's all I would say.
These takes are OG. But that is the keeper takes that gamble on the basis that he wins the ball. Okay?
Exactly, and his timing was off. I admit that.
and he has to be penalised for the fact that he has no case in the fact that he's missed the ball or he didn't get to the ball or play the ball, and a player has been clattered in the process of it, absolutely taken out. Yeah, I think the referee has a duty to take care of these players, and he can't say they've done that. They can't say they've done that.
Okay, hold that thought.
Yeah,
Pickford versus Salah. Let me learn.
Yeah,
Pickford nearly ruined Salah's. Not Salah.
No, Van
Dijk. Pickford nearly ruins Van Dijk's career, right? That's why we call him Disney on Ice now, because you don't trust his legs, right? And there was no yellow card, no sending off, no penalty. All right, rest my case then. Rest my case.
No.
It's going to happen all season. No, it's going to happen all season, guys.
No.
And we have to accept this.
Yeah, but then
I'm saying both situations are wrong. Not one was better, one was right, and one was wrong. I'm saying
but this is what I'm saying. These situations are going to happen all season to all our clubs, and we'll come in there and say, Norman, Ramsey was in the wrong for that one. That was a penalty. And Norman will say the referee saw what he saw.
This ruling of
until he didn't see what he saw
play wasn't really looked at like a couple of seasons back. Now they're kind of like looking at it properly. And they're saying, okay, we need to really take a good look because of head injuries and all these things coming into play. So,
and this is what I said. If he had given the penalty, I got no qualms with it. But the referee in the moment looks at the 50-50, looks what he's seen all game and says, this has been happening all game. And then if he was really in doubt, Norm, he should have gone to the screen.
Right, which I thought he was.
That's what I thought.
I said my daughter, now he's been suspended now,
because he's going to the screen.
He's been suspended
to go give O'Neal a yellow card. Ridiculous.
I think the whole refereeing team has been suspended for game week 2.
They have
after that incident. Yeah. But so is this okay? Okay, so every time an incident like that happens, and it doesn't get given, and it costs the other team a point or the whole game, do those referees all get suspended? Because what they've done now, they've set a marker to say, okay, we feel like they screwed up here, so none of them are going to get paid for game week 2. They're not involved.
I think it's
so. If game week 2 it happens, do you keep suspending the referees, or do you say let's replay the game because they deserve the point from it, or let's play the last 30 minutes of the game again at 1-0 to United? I don't know. It's because you have to remember it's split decisions. We saw this in the World Cup a lot, in both World Cups, where the decision's made and we as the fans at home are going, he's got to give it, and he doesn't, and we go, rah, how's that not a penalty? And we all lose our minds.
I feel the refs committee have to score the refs on how they performed in terms of decision making in the games, and then they can kind of say, okay, we're not using you for a couple of games until you can kind of assess your decisions better, so it has to go down that line. But
I think also one thing they can do, and I think this might do bare minimum, but it is something. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're trialing in the French league referees talking through the VAR decisions.
This is what the American sports do.
I'm sure they do this in the World Cup. Did they do this in the World Cup?
I don't know if they've done it in the World Cup. You can literally hear them in the office saying, "Look, I need you to go to the screen because we're not sure about this. You need to have a look." And he goes and he talks them through it, right? And we can all hear at home, and at least we'll be talking on the show more about, cool, this is what the referee's rationale was, and we can maybe have an argument on that, but not so much.
Right.
Right.
And this is what I like about
how do they come to that decision?
No, this is what I like. Right. This is what I like about the basketball and the NFL, right? They're mic'd up and they'll say number 10, holding, blocking, illegal, so the fans know exactly why their team's being penalized or not being penalized.
But you know what though?
It changes the dynamics of our game if we do that.
It does. And that's what I was going to say.
That's the problem.
Because
the beautiful thing about football is opinion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Jim White on his show today was talking to Simon Jordan about this whole incident, and Simon Jordan was kind of saying, well, listen, it's 50-50 whether it was or not. And what he was trying to basically say, because Howard Webb last season on Monday Night Football, was they actually did a demonstration of them talking it through and how they got to the decision. So
Yeah.
one of the things they want to trial out, but it probably what they'll probably do is get you to hear the pulse conversation of how they got to the decision. I don't think they want to do it live directly as like the Americans do it, because it will change the dynamics of the game.
I tell you what, though,
change the dynamics of the game.
No, it makes sense.
It does.
Because then what it do? There you go, transparency. Like, because I think
100%. Because
I think
Jim White says, right, okay, all we need to know now is if they were recorded talking to each other, how did they mess up with that incident on Monday? Yeah,
and I guarantee next week we're going to come back, Norm.
But you're not going to hear that one. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it.
But next week we're going to come back and we're going to be discussing another vital, especially, and I think as well, because it happened I think we were in the 8th minute of extra time. I don't know where we got 8 minutes from, but that's what they were giving. So that happened so late, and that's why I said that Gary O'Neill, like, because he's just been everywhere in the press talking about it. He's got to get over it, otherwise he's going to get fired by Christmas. Mark my word.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to let stuff go. Sometimes you're like, okay, I feel I got robbed here. Now, if he gets robbed every single week like that, then there's going to be a level of sympathy towards him. But after one game, and the thing is, I don't, like I say, the game should have already been over before that incident. I don't know where we got 9 minutes of extra time from. You're mugging the game off.
Someone injured?
Who got injured?
Well, they're adding on time for when the ball. You know what I mean? There's lots of things. It's just 30 seconds.
It's getting stupid, no.
But even that, if you had the mics, they could say 5 minutes added on due to
due to whatever.
And all of us are a little bit more relaxed compared to seeing 6 minutes, and it's like,
you go, where did they get that from?
They don't want the fans to know, even though the fans are in the stadium.
Yeah, but
and they have to make a decision. They have to make a decision, because the referee in his mind is saying that was fair game, regardless of the bodies. Because even when they interviewed Arna, he said our bodies came together before I could reach the ball, or something to that effect. He said that. He said I felt that ball was fair game. This is what the goalkeeper said. Because I waited to listen to, because I thought that it's his first game at Old Trafford. Going to interview him, especially after that controversial decision, and that's what he said. He said I always come for those balls. Now, whether you think my timing was late or not, that's up to you. He said it was a penalty. This is the goalkeeper, and he's going to say that. He's not going to say that.
Ten Hag came out and said the same thing as well.
Ten Hag is backing his guy, Norm, and you expect that.
Obviously, I get that. I understand. Sorry, I just want to quickly, the Jackson, Anthony Jackson, handball, Ez. Was it handball or not?
Which match is this?
Chelsea Liverpool game.
That's Liverpool.
The Jackson guy. Was it Anthony Jackson?
No, it wasn't Jackson that handballed it. It was yes. Sorry, there was 2 in that game.
Yeah.
Sorry. I would feel hard done by, but they're looking at natural versus not natural, and that is very natural. You're jumping. You can't. Compared to
his hand wasn't like that. His hand wasn't like that. His hand was like this.
I think they're looking at when hands go towards.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, towards or outwards. Yeah.
Right. But when you're jumping and it's in your peripheral, you can't. What's the player meant to do? And
it's like chopping your arms off, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
it's like
them ones there you got to allow. So don't get me wrong. That you turn around and say that's life. Compared to when I think the handball, you got to remember the original thing about handball is, was it deliberate or does this change the outcome because you've made an action? That was barely an action. So you got to allow them ones still.
Yeah. Quick question from who tonight wins the? I don't know what the score is because they're probably playing. Who wins it? City or Seville?
I think Seville.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what
happens. Pep might not go strong. Pep may not go strong in this game.
They've got Newcastle at the weekend, and I'm sure they'll.
Another tough game.
They're at home or away to
huge
Newcastle.
game.
No, he's put out his first team. I've just looked.
Has he?
Oh, wow.
Oh, fair enough, mate. All of them.
Rodri,
all of them.
They're all playing.
That means he wants to win it because he's looking at trophy count to catch up the likes of Arsenal and United and all that.
After the Community Shield, he's like, you know what? Let me just go on try and win this one quick. You know what I mean? Normally he's happy with that. No, quickly, one thing for Kofi.
Yeah.
Kofi, Liverpool have submitted a formal bid for Japanese midfielder Wataru Endo.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm gonna say to Ez, I'm gonna say to you, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Further context on this from Fabrizio.
You know what?
He's from Stuttgart and he's 30 years old.
What striker? You need a midfielder.
No, he's a midfielder. I'm
sorry.
Yeah,
How much for?
No price, but he's 30 years old. I doubt it will be
last couple of seasons, like example with this Ben Davis thing and Alpha. When these guys didn't get game, this is like demoralizing for me because this is the frustrating thing with why my team are in the mud because they do stupid last minute things like this.
You know what, Kofi, if you guys go out and get Amrabat though, I will be annoyed, and the reason why is that Maguire digging his heels in because he wants his extra money, and we need to sell to bring in. So apparently we've asked him to wait the whole transfer window. Now, if your man come and pull a Chelsea on us, then fair play to you, but I'll be vexed.
Bro, this
Because
guy,
I think we need him. We need him.
This guy that we're potentially putting in a bid or negotiating, he's not going to get a game. Let's face it. He's going to sit there. He's not going to get anything. He's going to be like another Arthur. He's going to be like another Ben Davis.
Yeah. You actually want players to come in that are going to affect the first team and force their way in, whether they a week or two. Because if you remember when Casemiro came into United, he wasn't quite up to speed, and Scott McTominay kept him out the team for about 2 or 3 games. But once Cas got in there, you weren't taking him out again. So they're the players you need to be signing.
Casemiro is a season professional.
Yeah, I know, bro. I know.
He knows to score inside out.
Yeah, but I mean, people say Liverpool in the mud. You know what? This is what I said to my younger brother, JD is a Liverpool fan. And I said that you guys are top heavy, so you're always going to bang goals. But if you don't address the midfield, you might not be able to outscore teams. You know, you could lose a lot of games 4-3. You know, just because you can score, but you can't defend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That reminds me of the old Liverpool.
Yeah, I never worry about Liverpool scoring goals.
You're gonna have beach ball scoring against them as well.
Yeah,
but you know what? To be honest, like even Van Dijk having captaincy, I'm a bit iffy on that because.
Is it? Well, same as me with Bruno. Same as me with Bruno. I didn't.
Robbo, man. Robbo's
what for us?
What is
for Liverpool? I don't think Man United have a lot of options. Maybe
the thing is, I said one of the defenders or Luke Shaw because then right he can drop Bruno. Now he can't drop Bruno. This is why you saw what you saw on Monday night. Bruno and Mountain in a 10 because one you just brought in as your main signing, the other one you just given the captain's armband to and the pay rise. So you can't drop either of them. So you got to shoot Horn. I don't want to see Bruno on the right. Them in the 10 don't work.
You're going to see Mount out there, I promise. You're going to see Mount out
and but then Anthony's his guy. He's overpaid for Anthony by 40 million euros.
What I saw from Anthony on Monday and Garnacho. Listen, Garnacho.
Oh no, he's an impact player. I said to Jason, he's an impact player. There's no way Garnacho should be starting over Sancho. Sancho should have been in the false 9, and Garnacho comes on for the last 20-15 minutes of the game or whatever. You got it wrong, Norm. You got it wrong.
1-0 Sevilla.
Oh
wow! You called it. You called it, my brother.
Ready.
I'm gonna have to go and analyze that game and watch how they play against them. It'd be interesting.
Sevilla, they're dogs, you know. These guys like a fight. They are dogs, man. Yeah.
You know, if you stick to your system and your what's the word I'm looking for? What I'm looking for. No, you know, if you stick to your system, and what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody help me out. I can't find the word, but it will come back to me. But basically, you know what I mean, you're rigid and you're not going to go to the left or the right. Exactly what the manager discipline.
Straight down the middle. Yeah.
Discipline. Then listen, they could come out, you know, probably winning this game. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. What Liverpool need is a James Milner. That's what Scott is saying.
No, they had that. They had that.
I'm surprised they let go of him. You know, I'm surprised.
So am I.
He does the simple stuff well. Look at him for Brighton last week. He looked amazing for Brighton.
He started at right back for Brighton, and he was solid. And I'm like, yo, Liverpool.
Listen, that guy is your reliable Robin Reliant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which Premier League manager will get sacked first? I'm going to go for Ange.
Really?
You think so?
No, I think they're playing good football. I'll be shocked, Craig.
At the moment,
I think that, and you have to remember, there's still an aftershock of selling Kane as well. And I thought they gave a good account of themselves at the weekend. So if he gets fired at Christmas,
R9, Richard, that's the step up.
Richie
Boy has to step up because he's.
Where is Kofi so I can cook him, man? Oh my gosh, not Kofi. Chili.
Listen, the man is probably licking his wounds right now. But you know what I mean? But yeah, let's the last thing, and we're out of here because we've been going over 2 hours now, and that is game week 1, and obviously if I can find it. Why can't Norman find it? Because yeah, we're doing that now. D will do that now, so I'm going to be quick. I'm not going to be too long with this, just to show you. Just to show you the table. So just to let you know, guys, Big D, only because of alphabetical reasons.
Nothing has changed since last season, man. I love it.
Nothing has changed. Like, so basically, as you can see, and basically the outcome. If you get the outcome right and the exact score, you get 3 points. You get a green little circle. If you get the outcome right, you get a blue spot. And if you get the outcome wrong, you get a red spot. So basically, Big D is on 1 point. I'm on 1 point. Kofi's on 1 point. Chile and Ez yet to come off the mark. But I'm sure this week, when you do select your team, this week and game week 2, you'll be able to do. So what I'll ask you to do, for the people that see the chat, just put some of your predictions for the weekend games in the chat, and we will put our predictions on our What's Going On podcast. So make sure we get our predictions in before the weekend is out. So good start by Big D, good start by Normski, good start by Kofi. Let's see if we can hit the nail in there. D last season, mate, he got quite a few on the spot, so he did quite well. Chile was chasing him down, and eventually, he couldn't hold out, and D
ran out of steam.
Now, so that's the prediction league table, and so D, over to you quickly before we finish. That is just to do with the What's Going On. It's a new thing now. The What's Going On Fantasy League shout out. And I'm sure you want to know how people are doing. So we're not going to go into
okay, just quickly. So we have top of our pile after game week 1 is Sean Connolly. Rice. His team is called Rice Baby. Scored a solid.
I'm sure he's an Arsenal supporter. Then.
Yeah. I think he is. Yeah, but he scored a solid 90 points, right?
Wow.
And he left Botman and Joe Pradro on the bench. If he had swapped them for White and Odegaard, he would have cleared 100 points on opening week.
Wow!
So this guy has pulled out.
That's your top dog.
Yeah. So he's top after game week 1. And we have Carefree Mafia, Abdallah E. I'm not sure. He may be one of. Is that might be Shiggs? I don't know. No, there wouldn't be Shiggs, would it? It might be one of Shiggs' guy. But 41 points. Again, he left 13 points on the bench with the goalkeeper and Diaby. That could have got him over 50 points. And that really is it. And then
could we have a shout out? Could we have a shout out for Malcolm X FC, please?
Yes, Malcolm X FC. She is 13. She's not bottom of the pile. So Jay's been a novice, and she's not bottom of the pile, but she saw the light, and she's gonna put in our guy from Man City and have a lot better week next week. So yeah, after game week 1, there's quite a lot of us on, say, like 68 to 70. Yeah. There's a few on 80. A guy called Richard Tux. Come on, you COYS. What's that? Come on, you Saints. Spurs. So Spurs guy, Richard Tux, 84 points as well. So there's been some solid performances. I mean,
what about Mr. Scott all the way over in the future?
Where is Scott in the future?
Because at one time he was leading.
Yeah, he was leading after the first batch of games. He's in a solid 9th place, 68. I say if you get over 50 in game week 1 upwards, then you're going in the right direction. Scott had a solid 68, so he's only 2 points behind me, which is neither here or there in fantasy league, as you guys know. But yeah, great account. Obviously, the 90 is an absolute fantastic start.
So who's the one to catch? Who's the one to catch?
The one to catch is Rice Baby, Sean Connolly on 90 points after game week 1. There you go.
Okay. So people,
good stuff.
Get picking this weekend. Let's see how you do. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for staying with us. You know what I mean? It's been a long show, but we had a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? Money Ez. I'm going to call him Money Ez now.
Money Ez, boy.
Kofi Klopp in the mud. But you'll be back, Kofi. Let's see what happens. Don't worry. You got a player going, what?
That's wild.
Love it.
Sorry. I'm sorry, God.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
And the thing is, this is what I would say for Kofi, that Liverpool need to go back to the way they were doing business when nobody knew their hand. The player just showed up holding the shirt with Klopp or whoever the manager was, and you're like, right, we didn't even know if they were in for him. I think you showed your hand, and now, I think that they'll learn from that. They'll learn from that. Like, don't become Man United. Don't let the media know your business until you've done it. You know what I mean? Because this is our problem now. Everyone knows Harry Kane and knows them at Tom. They all know our situations now, so we're screwed. Yeah,
some hard lessons to be learned. Hard lessons.
Definitely. And on that note, people, please smash that like button, subscribe and share. If you are new, we did have a new viewer on the channel, so great to have you there. Please subscribe to the channel. And we go again next week. It's going to be another great show. I'm sure come next week, Ez is going to be, man is going to be coming in and say, yo, people, my phone is dinging again. You know what I mean? So don't put it past him, because the Lavia deal will be done. The Alisi deal will be done. They'll probably get a striker in, and mate, business is done for the season. And Kofi, what, baby? People, on that note, please hit that like button, subscribe and share if you're new. And we're out of here. Take care.
Yeah, man. Take care, guys.